Hello everybody, this is Maniac for Lego. We are here today with a quick, well, maybe not so quick, haul video. Now it's quick as far as the items and going to the brief discussion about it, but I want to talk a little bit further than what we are shown. First, let me just turn on our lights. Got the first light, and now I've installed a new light. Let me know if this makes any difference. Let me know in the comments, because I'm still working around and trying to get 2 lamps to work in this area so we can eliminate as much shadow as possible. Alright, so now on to the haul. Well, today as of the video, that is, this was March 12th, 2012. I know that there was the Toys R Us event going on for the Emmett car. I wasn't going to that because, well, first of all, I already have the Emmett car, so I don't really need to go there again. I'm not going to rob that opportunity from anyone else that, wants to go there and hasn't gotten the opportunity for that car. I feel like they should go. They deserve it. Now, the real reason why I'm here is, well, on March 12th, what did I do that had a haul related to it? For the first time in quite a while, I went to a flea market. And this flea market, I didn't really expect there to be a lot of Lego involved, but there was, quite a selection. I saw between 4 different vendors that were selling Lego products. Not entirely as the main purpose, but it depended on the vendor. I saw for one vendor they had 2 sets. World Racer set Desert Destruction for $25. I think it was opened, but I don't know, how the condition of the pieces were inside. I didn't really take a good look. But I didn't buy that. That one vendor was also selling a creator set. It was like a large red airplane. I don't remember the name of it, but that was also selling for $20. Now, both of those seem like good deals from their original price, but I don't know the condition of the pieces inside of there. There was another vendor that had a whole bunch of stuff, and of Lego items, they had minifigures. This particular vendor had a good collection of them from 70s and 80s. They're all mixed and matched with parts, and they were selling for about $5 per figure. I asked the person that was running it, and they said that I was allowed to customize the figures before I buy them. So, you didn't have to buy them as they were shown there. You could actually just change it a little bit. And that's going to play into part of our haul today. Let me just go through some of the other vendors before we continue. There was one vendor that had like a very small box, very few pieces. I saw one of the most interesting pieces in that box was a tractor trailer hitch that I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but it's like in the helicopter transporter sets. I forget what the name of it is, but it's like a huge trailer piece that kind of like, has one part that comes up this way, then dips a little bit and comes back up and like that. So you have room on both sides for attaching the hitch itself, but you have that room in the middle to store the cargo. I don't know what it's called, and I know it's been used in trucks and trains, but I don't know what exactly it's called. Post in the comments. But very few pieces other than that that are of any interesting value. Nothing picked up there. I saw one vendor, the first vendor that I saw, in fact, of Lego products. They had a huge selection of minifigures. I don't know if I could really bring up the pictures here, but not for the haul video at least. I'm not going to bring up the pictures there, but I saw they had tons and tons of minifigures. Lots of them were more modern figures, such as Star Wars. There was some Lego Movie. There was a bunch of collectible minifigures. A couple of them that were a little bit older. They even had the 2006 version of the Joker in there, which I found kind of interesting. They had a whole bunch of versions of Hulk. They had a whole bunch of Batcopters from this year, that is. And the sets, and the rest of the figures from those sets, too. They had the Joker Steamroller a couple times with the appropriate figures, except I think they didn't have the Robin, and they didn't have the Batgirl from those. I guess maybe they already sold them, or plan to sell them later. But they also had a lot of collectible minifigures. They had a few very interesting ones I picked up from here. I'll explain those again in the actual, display of the video. Right now I'm just going through what I saw in there and what I remember. What else is there? There were a few other sellers that had some various things. This one that had like a huge collection of minifigures, he had them at various prices. a lot of the generic figures, you know, that really aren't of much value unless you just wanted to fill up your city or if you wanted certain torsos. It really wasn't, you know, special figures, but they were like $2 each. And in some of the bins, they had them for like one minifigure for $4 and then 5 for $18. I thought that was kind of a ripoff, considering the figures that were in there. They also had a few other figures that were like, I think it was like they were $2 each, but if you buy 5, you only have to pay $9. Again, you're not really saving much, you know. They had another collection that, like I said, they had a bunch of Star Wars ones. They had a couple classic ones. I don't know if I can pull up the pictures here. I'm definitely not going to do it in this video, at least. I don't know if I'll publish the pictures anywhere, but there was a big variety. Let's just put it that way. And, you know, kind of interesting. They also passed off some of the construction workers, just plain construction workers, as Emmett, which I thought was really, really annoying in my head, because they're not Emmett. You know, you want the version that's there. Like, I saw somebody who bought a Skater Girl figure from the collectible minifigure series, and they thought that was Wild Style. Now, granted, this was a kid, and maybe they weren't too familiar with it, and it does have some similarities, but it's still, like, come on. It's not that figure. Not that figure exactly. And they did sell that figure, but just in a different section, and they also had the Wild West version. They also had a whole bunch of keychains. I saw a Unikitty with a bunch of those, as far as the keychains, and that's cool, but I didn't see how to press the button. It said to press it on the mouth. I pressed the mouth. There was no button there. I don't know what's up with that. Maybe it's on another side or something. They're also selling a whole bunch of Speedor sets. They also had a whole bunch of Edwar Acrovators, and a few other stuff like storage bricks, like the 1x1 storage bricks. And this vendor knew exactly what he was doing. I mean, I can't say if the prices on these figures that I bought or the ones that were there were, you know, good values as far as a customer, or because I don't know the value of each minifigure, you know, after a certain amount of time or anything like that. It all depends on the figures, but some of them, if you saw any of the actual, like, interesting ones, there was a lot of superhero ones, by the way. If you saw any of the interesting ones, even collectible minifigures, they were like $6 or more. Maybe $8 or more. Most of the figures didn't go too much above $10 from what I could tell. But here's what I've got. This is in the little package that they gave me. It's just a small plastic bag. So what I have to show you guys, I have 2 Bricktober figures. Now, granted, these aren't actual minifigures. They're magnets that are stuck on there, and you can only remove the head and the hat on them, but they're still nice. I thought it was still nice to collect them, because I never went to Bricktober. I just never got the chance for it, and I didn't know if there was like a gimmick involved where you had to pay like $60. Let me know in the comments. I've known about it during that time, but I don't remember what the deal was, and I just didn't have the time to get there. But it was still nice to get these. These were $10 each. And what I found to be kind of... I don't want to... Yeah. Sorry about that interruption. Let me start again. I know nothing as far as the true value of each of these, you know, if you find them online or anything. But as far as $10 each, I thought that was kind of weird, but somewhat acceptable, considering that they're magnets and not just minifigures. And also considering, you know, what they're supposed to represent, 1990 and 1978 minifigures. But still, I don't think they would have been good for that price, considering the fact that you can't take them apart and use them as minifigures. One of each of these were labeled with stickers, and they had like small piece of tape, and it had a number on them for each of the minifigures that weren't marked in like the $2 range or the $4 range. All the other figures that were displayed there, they had stickers on them with a number. And I don't want to say anything bad about this vendor. Not that I would probably go there again. I don't know how often I would visit a flea market after this point, and even, you know, before going there. But let me just say, it seemed weird to me. This particular figure had the sticker marked 01. From what I was seeing on the display stand, it was 01. The other one was marked 10. And I asked them, I said, excuse me, this one is marked 01, so is it worth $1? And they said, no, it's worth $10. And they peeled off the sticker and still gave it to me anyways. But I was like, come on. You put the sticker on the wrong way, and you're telling me, I already asked them before about, the different prices on some of these figures. And they said, the sticker marks the price. So it was after they told me that I saw this figure, and I said, hey, that's 01, so is it $1? And they said, no, it's 10. Well, I'm sure that from where they were standing, they said that, it could have looked like that because they were on the opposite side where it could have looked like it's upside down, and for them it could have read 10. But for me as a customer, that reads 1. That's 1. Even if there's a 0 in front of it, it's still 1, isn't it? But I'm still glad to have them. In either case, I figured, maybe it's a little bit of a ripoff, for these two figures, but it's still worth it. I mean, I'm not going to get this opportunity often to get these figures. And that's also what I thought for the other two that I have. Let me just move these to the back. These other two, this minifigure is the one that I got from the customizable minifigure station. The certain vendor, like I said, had, all these different figures from the 70s and 80s worth about, they were worth $5 each. And there were a few actually more modern ones, because I saw one that had like the white sweatshirt jacket with the green, popping out a little bit from the small car set and from a couple other sets. But still, I recognized it right away as being a modern figure. But they said a lot of them were 70s and 80s figures. And I tried to recustomize this one. I asked them, if I could change around a few parts to make this into a red spaceman. Because at first, the helmet and the head were not on this one, and the pants were not on this one. So I had to change a few parts around. It's kind of close, but this one does not have any air tank on the back. Now, granted, there were other spaceman figures there. There was one that's really big, white, like tank and helmet combo, but I don't recall what years it's from. I know it's definitely it's probably in the 70s and more like the 80s range, because it was really bulky. But I'm not sure exactly what that one was, and I didn't know what the original looked like, so I wasn't gonna, try that way. There were a couple of them, though, that had, what do you call it? They had a similar torso to this, but they also had it with, like, mostly white with a little dash of blue on the top left corner, and I'm familiar with those types. That's why I think one of them was completely white. There was maybe one that was black, or one that had, like, mostly white but black on the corner or something like that. But I didn't want to try to make those combinations as far as space figures because they didn't have the helmets. And I don't know if, the precise helmets there were. Like, if I could have used the more modern version of helmets. I just thought, this is going to be the best one I'm going to get out of them. That's pretty authentic as far as a minifigure from that time period. I don't know, again, if this is the 70s, like late 70s, early 70s, but you can see it has a lot of wear and tear on the torso itself. The only part I can see remaining is the white. A lot of the gold has been washed away, and now you just have a white outline, just seeing the logo of space on there. This one seems to be a more modern version as far as the helmet goes, because it's not cracked, and seems pretty sturdy, but I'm not sure exactly what type it is. The minifigure head for this particular one was that type. I don't know if that's really a clue for it being, for trying to date it. Because, like I said, these are all mix and match figures. They weren't straight from the box. So I can't really tell as far as a date what this one might be. But let me know in the comments if you have any idea. And the last figure I have is the Robo DJ. This is also from the Bricktober, the same seller I bought the Bricktober ones from. This was an $8 figure. That's what I was charged for this one. And I know it's not too great that I would pay $8 for a figure, but considering the rarity of it, I did not have this at local theaters as far as, like getting it through, buying a ticket or anything like that. So that offer wasn't near me when, this was more readily available. And even then, wasn't that available. So I figure $8 is probably a good price for this. But again, let me know in the comments if any of these are good figures for their prices. I will be reviewing these two in their own reviews. I'll be reviewing this one in its own review because they're both complete. Or all three of them are complete. I don't know what I'm gonna exactly do with the Red Spaceman. I don't know if I can try to make up a set that was from that time period. And I'm really not sure about the dating on it. So, if you need more info, let me know in the comments. I'd really appreciate your help with trying to figure out how old this minifigure might be. Very interesting, though, because I was, happy to get any color of the monochrome space figures. Whether or not it was, Benny. That's preferable, but not gonna happen at just a random flea market. And I don't mind too much as far as not having the air tanks. I have other ones. I don't know if I have any in red, though, but I know I have a couple in black and in white. I don't know if I have any in red. And I know the seller didn't have any red ones, or I would have picked up on that. I probably would have got those with them, too. So there we have our haul. I'm sorry this is a little bit long, but I wanted to show you these kind of cool looking figures and how, sometimes you gotta look outside and see what other people could be selling. I mean, granted, I'm not the best with negotiation, and I wasn't gonna argue about these two figures, or even this one, maybe. This one, I think, is a good price for $5, considering what age it possibly could be. I think that's a good price, but let me know again in the comments if there's any better things I could have got for these. But we'll see you next time with more LEGO videos.